Orcas kill with surgical precision. They remove a great white's liver in seconds. They drown a blue whale calf 50 times their own weight. When an orca decides something is going to die, it is dead in moments. And yet marine biologists have watched an orca spend over 2 hours tossing a live seal into the air, catching it, releasing it, letting it swim for its life, then doing it again, not once, dozens of times on record. But why does the ocean's most efficient killer choose to play with its food instead of killing it right away? The short answer is, it's a hunting lesson for the young calf watching. The long answer is where it gets uncomfortable because orcas do this even when no one's watching at all. Now some of you are already thinking, it's a predator with too much food and not enough to do. Bored animals play. That's all this is. Fair objection. Let's look at where boredom play should show up. An orca with a baby seal, too slow to escape, too small to fight back, is exactly where a bored animal should want to play the most. Low risk, low effort, plenty of room to mess around without anything going wrong. But orcas do the same tossing, the same dragged-out handling with adult dolphins. Animals fast enough to outrun most threats, strong enough to injure something twice their size, and dangerous enough that even orcas don't take them lightly. Boredom doesn't behave that way. An animal messing around for its own amusement should stick to the safe targets and leave the dangerous ones alone. There's nothing fun about a game that can get you hurt. Orcas don't draw that line. They toss the baby seal, they toss the adult dolphin. Same behavior, wildly different stakes. So, bored predator, nothing better to do, doesn't survive contact with the data. Whatever is producing this behavior doesn't care how risky the target is, which means the real question isn't whether they could kill cleanly. It's what's driving a behavior that shows up whether the prey is defenseless or dangerous enough to fight back. Among the big killer whales of the Pacific Northwest, the marine mammal hunting ecotype studied for decades by researcher John Ford and colleagues at Canada's Department of Fisheries and Oceans, adult males will range alone or in pairs for weeks at a time, completely separated from any calf. These solitary males haven't stopped tossing prey. Biologists tracking individually identified whales have logged the same adult males decades into their lives, long past any calf they might once have been demonstrating for, still dragging out kills on harbor seals with no juvenile anywhere in the group. If this were a lesson, it should stop the moment there's no one left to teach. It doesn't. The same male keeps doing it alone for the rest of his life, which means whatever this behavior is for, it isn't rented out to calves and returned once the lesson's over. It's something the orca keeps doing for itself, which raises an even stranger question. What happens when there's not even a meal at the end of it? In the Salish Sea, between Washington State and British Columbia, researchers with the Center for Whale Research and NOAA Fisheries have documented something that shouldn't happen if this is about food. Orcas killing harbor porpoises, handling them at length, tossing, chasing, pinning, then leaving the body in the water, untouched, uneaten. Fish-eating orcas in this region survive almost entirely on salmon. A porpoise carries no nutritional benefit to them at all, and yet the encounters keep happening, logged repeatedly enough that researchers no longer treat them as flukes. There's no meal at the end of this, and in most of these cases, there's no calf nearby benefiting from a lesson either. Just the animal, handled at length, for reasons that produce no food and teach no one watching, which means the drive behind this behavior doesn't need a payoff of any kind to run. It fires on its own. And once you accept that, the next fact stops looking strange and starts looking calculated. Adult sea lions are not easy targets. A large male can weigh over 300 kilograms, and its canine teeth are built to puncture and hold, capable of tearing an eye or a fin if an orca gets in close while the animal still has fight left in it. Off the coast of California and Patagonia, footage of orcas hunting adult sea lions shows a consistent pattern: repeated ramming, tail strikes, and dunking, over and over, before the orca ever commits to a close-range bite. Each pass doesn't kill the sea lion outright. It drains it, a little more exhausted, a little less able to twist and fight back, with every hit. Only once the animal has nothing left does the orca move in. That's not confusion about how to kill efficiently. It's a trade made on purpose. Extend the sea lion's suffering by several minutes in exchange for a kill with almost no risk of injury to the orca. The orca isn't choosing between fast and slow. It's choosing between a version of this hunt where it might get hurt and a version where it definitely won't, which means the coldest explanation is also the simplest one. 3 proofs, 3 situations, and in every one, the only creature whose safety was ever part of the calculation was the orca's own. So sit with the three proofs for a second, because even without boredom and without teaching, there's still a version of this that feels almost respectable. Self-maintenance, risk management, an animal being careful and efficient with its own safety. That's not the whole picture, and the part it leaves out is the part that matters. Skill maintenance, uneaten kills, safe subduing. None of these are the point on their own. They're symptoms of something bigger, an animal so good at hunting that staying alive costs it almost nothing anymore. A killer whale doesn't spend its day worrying about its next meal the way most predators do. It solved that problem generations ago. What's left over is energy with nowhere required to go, and when that surplus shows up, it doesn't stay confined to seals and porpoises. Orcas have been documented attacking dolphins and even sharks with no intention of eating either one, chasing them down, ramming them, leaving the body behind. The same handling seen in the proofs, aimed at something that was never on the menu to begin with. Since 2020, orcas off the coast of Spain and Portugal have been repeatedly ramming sailboats, snapping rudders clean off, sometimes disabling the vessel entirely. Behavior researchers still can't fully explain, spreading between animals the way a fad spreads between kids. Whale to whale, boat after boat. We don't actually know why. That's the honest answer. But whatever it isn't hunger. And it isn't a lesson for anyone. It's an animal so far ahead of its own survival that hunting has room to become something else entirely. Recreation with teeth, aimed at whatever happens to be nearby, including us. Now look at the species on land running the exact same surplus. Humans solved the survival problem a long time ago too. Most of us will never hunt to eat, never fight off a predator, never spend a day genuinely unsure where the next meal is coming from. The skill set built by millions of years of staying alive didn't get switched off when the threat disappeared. It just stopped having anywhere left to go. So it went sideways. Combat sports exist purely to let people test lethal skill against another person with no survival stakes attached at all. The danger is manufactured on purpose because a body built for real fights needs somewhere to put that capability. Big game hunting for a trophy on the wall, not a meal on the table. Demolition derbies. Blood sports history is full of built for spectacle, not necessity. Wars that keep escalating past the point where any resource on the table could possibly be worth the cost, because at some point the fight itself became the reason, not the prize behind it. None of it is about hunger. None of it is about threat. It's excess capability, generations deep, with nowhere built in to spend itself except on something that was never actually dangerous to begin with. The orca ramming a sailboat and the human building a career out of a combat sport are running the same leftover code. Both species got too good at staying alive. Neither one figured out what to do with what was left over. So the next time you watch that clip, the one where the orca tosses the seal into the air again and again, and the crowd on the boat gasps like they're watching something almost gentle. Look again. It's not a lesson. Nobody's there to learn it. It's not a safety trade either. There's no injury left to avoid. The seal stopped fighting back 3 tosses ago. What's left is simpler and harder to sit with. An animal so good at staying alive that killing stopped being a necessity a long time ago and started being whatever's left over when necessity runs out. We don't fully know why they keep going. Neither do the people who've spent their careers watching it happen. Organization, like the Center for Whale Research, has spent decades photographing, tracking, and identifying individual orcas across generations, and even they'll tell you this part of the behavior still doesn't resolve into one clean answer. The orca isn't cruel and isn't kind. It's just excellent, good enough at staying alive that killing became optional, and optional killing doesn't ask who it lands on.